I've included a little hint on the screen as to who our special guest is today. A little tiny hint if you have managed to unravel the riddle I put down for you and you figured out who our special guest is today, or if you looked on Facebook or anything like that, then let us know. You can give us a shout out. You can give our special guest a shout out. We'll start with we'll start today with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. All right. So it is good to see everybody here. We have a ton of people on live, which is excellent. And I'll be watching the question box. My office hours are a little bit different than Greg or Fletch's. These are going to be a little bit more geared towards money getting. It's possible that I'll answer a few technical SEO questions. Well, actually, we'll go over quite a bit of technical SEO today with Jimmy. I try to keep things a little bit more focused on specifically on money getting, on getting the money, on getting it in your hands. I don't know how many people have heard me say this before, but me and Greg and David Mills and the people who really join us, like Fletch, like Jimmy, who you're going to meet today. Oh, I let the cat out of the bag. But anyways, me and David and Greg, when we founded OMG, we really had in mind the idea of doing it. Certainly, part of it's for profit, right around 50%. And we want that. And without it, we wouldn't do it. But we also do it about 50%, really to enjoy these public earnings reports, to know that you're being successful. And that's very, very important to us. So, so give me the number one if that sort of makes sense to you. Why we would have things be that way. It actually really works out for a number of reasons, and because it does make doing business easier. When we get all these public earnings reports, it lets us know what's working. It also lets us know, what we can improve and how we can share more and more with you. We have quite an upward spiral with OMG. Jimmy is a great example of this. Jimmy contacted me. So this is Jimmy Kelly. This is our special guest. Jimmy, are you there?
I am here, Mike.
All right.
How's it going?
It's wonderful. Can I get a warm OMG welcome for Jimmy Kelly? And really excited to have him here. And I'm gonna try to get to all questions as much as possible during this event. I'll try to show those questions as I'm coming along. I'll try to use Snagit and take pictures of questions that are coming up and share them, or maybe in some cases, maybe I can copy and paste them into. That could actually be a good strategy for doing things. But anyways, Jimmy's a great example of things. Jimmy contacted me. Geez, Jimmy, I think it was around about May of 2013. I want to say was the first time I heard from you, right around there. Do you remember when it was?
I can't remember the exact date. I think it was around then.
Yeah,
I think it was around May.
Yeah, it seems like that might have been about the time. And Jimmy, when Jimmy joined us for what's now Project X, when Jimmy joined us for NHB, he was in a tight spot, and Jimmy's had success with SEO before, for sure, but he'd run up against a wall. And by the way, it really is something to have, even when you're at the top of SEO. When you get to the top of SEO, it really matters to have basically to have Greg around. It's somehow weirdly always helpful. Anyways, the income of the projects you were working on had really drastically fallen off, Jimmy, to the point where it was like zero-ish. Is that right?
Yeah, we had a lot of sites that were struggling, and we're getting to the point where, the employees that we had under us, it didn't make sense to keep them on. So it was kind of time to rethink some of our game plan.
Yeah, they fired all their employees. They were really scratching their heads as to what to do. Jimmy went out and joined us, and The main turning point was really enacting, um, and this was kind of faithful, but enacting PBNs into what you're doing, and that really changed things because, um, and it's kind of interesting. Anyways, I'll just tell you this: that earnings skyrocketed at that point, and we've probably shown you some of those things that the sites that Jimmy uh, uh, has worked on have just had extraordinary success in CPA. Six-figure months at times. It's incredible. Jimmy's also had incredible success with local client consulting, mid five figures per month. So we'll get into some of that today. But one of the things that we learned, and this is why these earnings reports are really so critical, well, one of the examples of why is that we learned that there was a way of mixing some of Jimmy's discoveries, because Jimmy's quite a discoverer, he's quite brilliant, with Greg's innovations on private blog networks and Greg's overall view of SEO. Mixing those things has really supercharged stuff. So to give you some ideas of some of Jimmy's handiwork on Google, and we're going to discuss some of these things today from an SEO standpoint. Of course, if we type in Nashville SEO, we all like to look at that. It's one of my favorite things to do in the day. Um, then the search engine domination that we have, where we're most of page one, then a lot of the social stuff that you see here, Facebook, Foursquare, Yelp, and Weebly, Jimmy did that. And also if you go to page two, then the Vimo right here is us. And then the SlideShare is us. This LinkedIn is us. And then I think on page three, there's another one. I think, this video right here. Altogether, we have 10 spots staked out on the first 3 pages of Google, and we have it planned. And really, I want everyone to know here, and we'll get a little bit more into Day Job Killer Local Client Consulting today. I just signed a brand new deal yesterday for Nashville SEO. I've got another one that's most certainly closing today, and then another one that looks good for tomorrow. So I do this, and this is a project that me and Jimmy and Greg and David Mills work together on. Me, Greg, Jimmy, and David work together on a number of projects, and over time you'll get to benefit from that as well as with Nashville SEO. But anyways, this is some of an idea of Jimmy's handiwork right here. A great example of Jimmy's handiwork. This is killer. If we go to google.com, and Jimmy's been so gracious, he's allowing because he's done this domination training inside of your members area, then you can actually use this as an example of, and one of the things we may do is do more examples. Maybe I've been thinking, Jimmy, about coming up with maybe some examples in overseas that we could do, maybe in UK and Australia and stuff. I think that would be really cool. But anyways, if we look at for water damage St. George, Jimmy, your client Serve Pro here is absolutely dominating. 1, 2, 3, number one in the local listings, YouTube, super pages, their website, local book, yellow pages, the whole 9 yards, really, really dominating page one. So these are some examples. We also, Jimmy, can I show them the homes?
Yeah, you could show them that one.
Okay, great. I'm going to get into this down the road. But that's Gmail. Oops. Let's see here. If I go to, anyways, never mind about that. I don't want any questions. Sorry. When you go live, you get what you get. Let me see. Google. All right. So if we go back to Google, then if we type in model homes in Utah, then did I do it right?
Put the N in there to make the 7-pack show up.
Without the N, it's merely search engine domination. With the N, something crazy happens. So can folks see very well here? I'm typing model homes in Utah, hit enter. And the client in this case is Ivory Homes. They're not just number one, but when we go into the local listings, they're number 1, number 2, and number 3. And that's a great example of what we're looking at here. So this is some real domination here, some different kinds of domination, and it's really, really exciting. Jimmy's also had huge success in CPA, and continues to. We're actually working on some sites right now. So it's exciting stuff, Jimmy. And I want to get into. So first of all, how many people here? Let's take a look in your OMG members area. Let's get a little bit orienting here for a second. And I can look over the question box. I had a question from Angela that I was trying to get down. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss too many questions.
Hey, can you make me a presenter so I can see the questions?
An organizer? Yeah, I can do that.
Oh, yeah.
I can do that, Jimmy. Give me a second.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there.
No worries. No worries. I was going to say something brilliant, but now forget about it. Okay. So let's see here. All right. So as we go into your Project X Spring area right here, then we've got, of course, by the way, some really great updates here. Really recently, tons and tons of new stuff in your breaking news feed. A lot of people want to know where the bonuses are. Your bonus number 2 that I went through, if you're following along, where I'm going kind of ripping apart Nashville SEO and a certain kind of framework that I have for websites I put together, is there's an update on it right here on where they are and where they're available. So you can just read right here. One of them is in the underneath the deciding your game plan monetization right here. But anyways, I just did one with Brian Magnosi, and he's making $30,000 or $40,000 per month doing Day Job Killer. A lot of that has to do with design. We're focusing a lot more on web design right now these days. And I have big news. I'm just dropping a module where I'm going through how it was that I did not just that we did the SEO. We're going to be focusing on the SEO of Nashville SEO today. But this site really converts, and I just get phone call after phone call after phone call, and this really converts, and it's built on a framework that I've used again and again to build millions of dollars worth of businesses in data consulting, in affiliate marketing, and with my own products. And I show you in this module how I did that. We also get into the graphics design. A lot of people like the way that this website looks, and I pull this website apart myself, and I get together with Mike Hayden and explain more details on how I put this website together in this new bonus. And we have a real special treat, which is that Mike Hayden and Clinton Dixon have put together just exclusive for OMGers. If you like the look and feel of this skin, the way this website looks, then they put together something called Wild Country, which is an OMG exclusive. It's a skin that you'll be able to use and you'll be able to get and download free. So that's a new update. And then you can always watch your members area for office hours and so forth. And then we had a new update with David Hood. So there's lots of updates there. But anyways, and this is new, by the way, the SEO intro and updates. This is great with Greg. Also, how many people have, if you've wanted to join the OMG beginners group, beginners support and an acceleration group, then what you need to do is ultimately you have to friend me on Facebook, and you have to then send me a message on Facebook. And once those two things are done, once we're friends on Facebook, and once you then, after we're friends, send me a message on Facebook, then I'll add you to the group, and we welcome you in there. It's a really great group. So I just wanted to make that announcement. So, okay, so this is the free traffic area. We've got SEO intro and updates. This is new from Greg. Of course, your extraordinary website supremacy area. Then we've got social network domination. And I want to kind of point to some of the things that we want to go over at least a little bit with Jimmy today. We're gonna get into domination today a little bit more. Now, Jimmy is going to have more on more on website domination to come. He's actually got another webinar, a follow-up webinar that he is going to do with Greg on domination. So that'll be really focused on it. So we're going to talk about domination today. We're going to talk a little bit about day job killer, local client consulting with Jimmy today because he's a real ace at it. We're also going to talk about, we're going to kind of a little bit give you information about this. Later on today, it's a very special, exciting announcement. Later on today, Jimmy, you're sitting down with Greg, and what are you guys going to be starting to let the cat out of the bag on?
We're gonna start going. We're gonna start putting together the Death Star Reloaded.
Death Star Reloaded. And we tease this a little bit, so some people know about this. I think that this is exciting. With Death Star Reloaded, the basic high-level idea is taking PBNs and a bit putting them on steroids. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Does anybody like that idea of being able to take and you're accomplishing this some with social sites and so forth?
Yeah, mostly. There's a lot of there's a couple of cool things that we do to it to modify it to make it automated and also build up the trust of that domain quite substantially. So.
And just so you know, this is the kind of thing, like we're not flying by the seat of our pants here. Me, Jimmy, David, and Greg have been doing this with our own private blog networks. We've been testing this extensively, and so that's going to be really exciting. We're going to give you a little bit of a tease on that. That information is going to be hitting your members area very soon. It's very alive. It's all happening inside of OMG. So that's going to be really neat. And we might get to some other topics, but these are some things that I want to touch upon today that I think it's going to be really, really exciting for people. So what I want to do is I want to get into helping people understand, because this domination and this day job killer stuff, Jimmy, they really go hand in hand. When you've been acquiring clients, one of the main things that you do is just show them your own handiwork, water damage St. George. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of proof speaks for itself. And, you always have those small business owners that, they might be a little bit hesitant or not want to put down the money. And it's still a great opportunity to just get in there and say, let's give it a certain time frame. You give them the results that they're looking for, and they basically become hooked after that. I mean, when they start getting calls and their business is increasing, it speaks for itself.
Yeah, and it really has exploded ServPro's business. They went from 5% to how much business do they now get? So they used to get 5% of their business from the search engines, and a lot of that was through paid traffic. What are they now getting? What percentage of their business are they now getting?
They're getting over 80% now is coming directly from the internet. So it's been a huge turning point for them. And they've had to hire more people. They're just not really even able to handle some of the calls. They weren't really expecting that big of an increase, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, great. And so let's talk about this. This training, this is something that we just started doing, like right around a little after Christmas time. Is that about when we started putting? I don't even remember when we started putting the domination side of Nashville SEO. So to give everybody a timeline on this, I put this together with Greg and David about before OMG Live. It was actually before we even started talking about OMG Live. So I think it was in July of 2013. And then in August, I think it was actually August 13th or 12th or 13th, that I shot this video right here and uploaded it. And so we got these ultimately, Greg basically got these ultimately up to number 1 and number 2, I think. But then from there, the Facebook, Foursquare, Yelp, um, and these other social properties. Jimmy and I put those together for you over my shoulder, um, right here in your domination main page. So if you go to the free traffic area and then you go to the domination main page right here, we show you how we did this. Now, um, I want folks to know that when it comes to this domination stuff, it's not 100% the same whatever country you go to. In Australia, we're going to have different results. For example, Australia is just going to be different as a whole because if you're in Melbourne, you're going to get Melbourne results. If you're in Perth, you're going to get Perth results. So it's very regionally associated. And so, and we'll explore more of this over time. We're always testing and working with our members. It's one of the wonderful things about the City on a Hill community that we have is that we're able to dial into things. We want new members to be able to have more and more success. I was talking to one of our new members, Laura, the other day, and she's actually in Melbourne and was able to get connected with another OMGer, Jason, and they started collaborating a little bit and talking a little bit. Jason's very, very successful, and we think that stuff really matters. So we're keeping this stuff in mind. And Jason is working on some search engine domination stuff. So we're always working on examples to share with you. But I'll tell you this: anywhere in America, and you can get American clients from anywhere in the world, anywhere in America, this is gangbusters. This is so powerful, and a lot of clients will really respond to it. If you point to this, they may not even. Here's the funny thing: is they may not even want to pay the price for you to do this stuff for them. Okay, because one of the things I found, Jimmy, is that a lot of times when we're signing people up for national SEO, in a lot of cases we're just starting on a couple of social properties for them. The locksmith we signed up yesterday is just website, YouTube, and Facebook. But he wants the whole domination thing. It's just that he doesn't want to pay the price tag for domination just yet until he kind of sees things kind of unfurl, kind of unravel, kind of come to fruition and see some of those rankings jumping. And when that happens, the checkbook opens wider. Is that your experience of things as well?
Yeah, it's just a lot of people don't want to put that money down. And I think a lot of people in the past even have bad experiences with other SEO companies. So, rightfully so, they don't really want to put all their eggs in one basket all the time. But when you start showing results and they're starting to see that increase in traffic, it's just, like I'm not a very good salesperson. That's how I've always tried to do my sales with people is just get them results, and the clients will stick with you at that point.
Yeah, it's worth noting that even though you have these huge paychecks that you've gotten from Day Job Killer Client Consulting, you're really not some sort of a gregarious, outgoing, sales-oriented person at all.
No, yeah, I'm definitely an introvert.
All right. Now we have another resource from Jimmy on Day Job Killer stuff that I'll pull up in a second, which is Jimmy Kelly's playbook. I'll pull that up. But the fundamental of how we're accomplishing this, Jimmy, is all in the domination area right here. So if I go into domination, we've got the National SEO Social Series, and inside of this series, I give you an overview of how we do this, and then you get to see the actual videos. The videos are blacked out for a second. It takes them a second to populate. But this is how we put together all of these social properties that you see. I put together the Facebook. I put together the Yelp and the SlideShare and all that kind of stuff. So you see us making the properties, and then what Jimmy's using, the way he's linking them is the real magic in this case. Well, not magic. It's the real real juice, the real power in this situation. Is he's using a tool called GSA. You can use Magic as a substitute for this. Okay, Magic Submitter as a substitute for this. But one way or the other, you want to use one of these linking tools, and he's firing lots and lots and lots of backlinks to these social properties, lots of high PR backlinks to these social properties. and then you got training from on GSA and Gscaper training here to explain how it is that Jimmy accomplished that. And Jimmy, the idea here, I don't want to get overly theoretical, but I think it works for a minute to just help explain to people a little bit about the way that trust works and the importance of trust, because trust is a new factor that's very, very important when it comes to dominating the search engines at this point. It really used to be not really that long ago. I mean, even in 2013, the PageRank was really important. And nowadays, PageRank has really fallen off in importance. Nowadays, it's much more about domain authority when it comes to ranking in the real Google search engines. And domain authority, one of the key factors with domain authority is trust. And Jimmy,
Yeah.
so maybe we can use that search term, the jewelry search term from yesterday, to kind of help explain this. Do you want to take over presenting and kind of show that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can also kind of say, yeah, we could do that. Or give, yeah,
Does that make sense to do?
yeah, that's fine.
Great.
Let's do it.
All right, great. All right, here. So let's see. And I want you to have kind of a visual sense of how we're how we're accomplishing this, and how things kind of work. By the way, Jimmy and I worked for hours on this presentation last night alone. So we always like really focus hard on anything that we share with you. It doesn't just come from lots and lots of big money kind of things that we're doing in the background and behind the scenes, but it also, because we're underground guys like operating our businesses. That's where the lion's share of our focus goes into. But then when we come back to report things back to you, we really, really focus hard to try to do that very, very well. And by the way, if you're asking questions right now, I'm doing my best to kind of assemble a list of questions. But if I somehow miss them, if I somehow miss your question, try to keep your question maybe on a notepad where you can paste it back into the window if it hasn't gotten answered. We're going to work with Jimmy for a while here, and then I'm going to try to get into some Q&A and some more on money getting. All right, Jimmy, go ahead.
Okay, so in the search when you're doing jewelry, you still have, it's kind of interesting, like what you have from your search results. And you can see this a lot across the web. I guess I should, let me turn on the PR here so people can actually see what's going on.
Yeah, and can you do the Control+ thing?
Oh, yeah. Hopefully that people can see the screen.
Yeah, give us the number
so
one.
So you see here, you can see the PR. Okay.
Okay, seems like you can see it well. All right, good.
So when you're looking at this, you have, I just pulled up, this is just the SEO Quake bar that you throw in on your browser, and it's just going to display the PR of each of these pages. You got PR4, there's PR0, PR6, PR3, 5.3. There's a lot of instances where you see, like if you're going strictly based off of PR, you wonder why the heck that Amazon page is sitting there.
Right. It would actually make no sense at all. And it used to be much more PR driven. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, you can see right here, like, why on earth would a PR0 be outranking a PR6? Like in the old time with SEO, that was the driving factor, has always been about PR, but PR is really, I've always said it's more of a distraction. I think it's something that Google kind of throws out there. I think at one point in time it was an accurate metric, but lately I think they're throwing it out there, but it's just a smoke screen, basically. And when you look at these
And
search
do we have an
results,
idea of how they calculate page rank?
yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know if I want to go quite far into that. That would be really geeking out.
Okay. All right.
But
Is there like kind of a high level idea?
I mean, essentially, it comes down. They assign the weighted value of the added juice coming from other PRs, and then it's logarithmic, so it scales. It scales to the tens as you go up through the PRs,
Right.
and so like to get a PR2, you need like 1,000 PR1s
Right.
links, and that kind of collection of the PR juices is essentially how they weighted pages for when they were doing the rankings back then.
Right.
But so when you look at it, um, that example, the PR0 and the PR6, you can see like this just doesn't have any place. Like it's sitting here with a PR4 and a PR6. So, that doesn't really fit. And you'll see this around a lot of searches where you'll see like brand new sites, they're like, holy crap, why is this ranking? Like you got all these other sites where I have more links than them. How on earth are they doing this?
Right.
And it's more like Google has come down to like the domain authority and the trust factor. And I kind of gave this example to Mike last night where consider yourself if you were like an English professor at a university and you had two students submit a term paper or something that you're supposed to grade. The first student went and cited some references in his report of maybe some obscure book or author that you're not familiar with, and then versus the other student, the references and citations they gave referenced like a colleague that you might have went to school with or some other piece of material that you've read before as you like went along in your field. So just based off of that example, inherently you're looking at the two papers, you're going to put more trust in the one that is that trusted source, so to say, of the paper that did the citation to that author that you recognize, versus the other one you'd probably take a little closer look because you're like, he wrote the paper, but then he's citing something I have no idea about. It's not really on my radar for a trusted authority on this topic, and so you'd probably do a little more digging in that kind of sense. So I think that's kind of a good analogy to kind of see like what the trust metric is.
Yeah, and does that analogy more answer this? I assume it makes sense to you. If it doesn't, give me the number two and give me an idea of a little bit why it doesn't make sense to you. All right, go ahead, Jimmy.
Okay. So when you're looking at this, you can kind of see. So I pulled up each of these, some of these results that came from this jewelry, and if you use Moz, it's kind of the closest thing right now that is the most accurate. As you go to like the different the link aggregators out there, like when you go to like what's the other one, like a Majestic, you'd be looking more at the trust flow as opposed to the domain authority. And everyone's kind of got their own different metrics, but Moz kind of just wraps it all up nicely, and people kind of understand it more because it looks more like a PR metric. But so when you're looking at this, you had this result sitting up at number 2. It's got domain authority 62. You got a 99 domain authority on Amazon. You got 100 domain authority on Wikipedia, and then you're dealing with an 86 with Macy's. So you wonder, it's like you have certain situations where sites like this can actually outrank the higher domain authority sites. So these higher domain authority sites are these trusted kind of sites that Google recognizes the author of. They've had a lot of links going to the pages. Their domain authority and trust have built over time, and so Google recognizes that. And inherently, when you're getting a link from these types of sites, that's building the trust of your own domain of wherever it's going. So now you probably ask, well, it's like, what's the deal with the lower domain authority versus the higher domain authority? Well, when you come here to this jewelry page, I mean, Amazon is filled with all kinds of stuff. You can get clothes, you can get electronics, you can get all kinds of stuff. So if you look at Amazon as a whole, it's not all based around jewelry. It has a few pages on that site that are around jewelry, and so the relevance of that, even though it's got the high domain authority, the relevance is narrow when it comes to the theme of what it is. So now when you look at this, that kind of makes sense. They have a decent domain authority on this site, but this entire site is based off of jewelry. And so even though at sometimes your money site or whatever site you're trying to rank is going to be a little bit lower in domain authority, if it's completely themed for what that is, you don't need to have as high domain authority to get up above some of these more, giant trusted sites that Google is looking at. So, and also domain authority is also dictated in your 7-pack listings. The example of the, let me show you. So if you go, so the web page that you linked to, which in this instance was, and this was a change where they just introduced the domain authority as being a factor in your rankings in the 7-pack, just I'd say probably within the last 6 months sometime. I don't know the exact time frame off the top of my head. But so basically what that does is it allows you can rank higher if the linking site that you're pointing to is a higher domain authority, because it's more of a trusted source that Google recognizes. Now, there's other things that come into play with ranking this too. Not gonna get into that right now, but
a couple of people asked what the 7-pack is. The 7-pack is when, and it can sometimes be a different number, but that's the local listings in an area. So when the Google Maps displays and it says A, B, C, D, E, you ask for restaurants Franklin, or something like that. In this case, with water damage, then it's these Serve Pro, Back to Perfection, High Caliber, Floodmaster, Rockwell AA services that you're seeing, where it has the A, B, C, D, E, F, and that all corresponds to the map. Sorry, Jimmy, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no problem. And so now they've taken this over into this area of their search as well. And it's kind of interesting because there's just, when you start seeing at the results and everything like that, like your link building tactics and everything like that change. You should be looking at it differently than a PR standpoint, because you can see so many examples like the other one where you have a PR0 outranking a PR6, or 1, 2s, and 3s outranking like 4, 5, and 6 PRs.
Right.
That's just not, like, that doesn't fit a PR metric.
All right, great. So, if that makes a bit more sense to you now than before, and we're going to talk a little bit about how we take advantage of this. One of the big things that's going on with Google, you have to remember, Google is a for-profit business. This is where we're a little bit exiting. This is sort of my exit statement from theory, and we're going to get a little bit more into practice here in just a second. But this isn't, like, when I say theory, I mean something that's a little bit more idea-based. This is not some harebrained idea that we have. This is really backed up with reality again and again. Right now, Google is really riding on the coattails of all of these social sites. Google, they want to grow, they want to build, and they want to take advantage of the new hot trends, just like everybody does. And so how does Google take advantage of hot trends like Facebook and Foursquare and LinkedIn and Pinterest? How does Google take advantage of that? Well, Google includes them in their rankings, because what happens when people do a search for water damage St. George and they see Facebook page there, if they're a Facebook user, that makes a lot of sense. That sounds great to them. They're like, oh, Facebook. Well, what does Facebook have to say about this? If somebody, is a big Yelp user, there's a lot of big Yelp users, people that trust Yelp, for local listings, and they're Yelp members, and they see a Yelp listing, and they're like, wow, that's great. Yelp, that sounds excellent. If you're, I could easily see somebody who's doing fashion shopping. We've got a number of ladies on here. A lot of women like Pinterest. So if you were looking for fashion shopping and you had a store, and that store had a Pinterest page, I can see a lot of women making a beeline for that Pinterest page and clicking around and looking at the pictures and pinning some stuff and being involved and feeling great about it. So what's happening is Google is assigning high trust, like a high degree of trust to these pages, and they're excited about them, and uh, by assigning a high degree of trust, that factors into the domain authority of those sites, and we can really take advantage of that. And Jimmy, can you going back to, like, for example, National SEO or water damage St. George, can you get into the kind of the specifics of a bit about how that happens? Of course, they've got their training, but this will more orient people so they can use their training even better. And I have a number of questions that folks have been asking that I've been piling up and compiling, so we'll try to go through those rapid fire.
Oh yeah, yeah, we can get through those questions. Um, so you know, so this is kind of interesting. So this kind of goes back to what I was saying in the jewelry example, where you had one site that had lower domain authority, but more pages on the site were themed more relevant for that specific search, right? Whereas opposed to, you can still rank the higher domain authority sites, even though it might just be a page. Like in YouTube, it's just a video, so that's like a page on YouTube, basically, if you're looking in that sense. So it can still rank for that result, but if you have lower domain authority, you can still outrank those types of sites if you have a bigger themed domain, like more pages on your site are themed for what you're trying to rank for, because your relevance and things come into play there. So how do we go about and do this? So it's all based off of domain authority, like what we were trying to go over in the course. Like if you look at, oh, sorry.
I hear Greg talking.
so when you're looking at this, like of course, hopefully everybody can see. You see this Moz bar up here where it says the DA100. So this is the domain authority of YouTube, right? This is the domain authority of the root of this domain. So it's 100, so that means it's highly trusted. Now, when you have these highly trusted sites come into play, they can take a lot more abuse. Like that's where you can start introducing your spam tools and things. Again, where before, if you did that to a money site, it couldn't handle that abuse anymore because the trust isn't there. It's the citing some paper that nobody knows about. Like it hasn't been around. But you mentioned like YouTube, everybody knows what YouTube is.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
a trusted source.
Yeah.
And so when you see a lot of more spammier type links going to these pages, Google just responds to it and says, "Oh, okay, trusted, link juice, good to go."
Yeah, and this is something, when I say that Google is trying to promote things, one of the easiest ways for Google to promote something is for them to just be like, well, we want more of this, right? And so because we want more of this, we are going to be more relaxed with our backlink rules. Does that make sense to you? Do you agree with that, Jimmy?
Yeah, I do, because their idea, what does Google always preach? They say go out and do a quality content, and then it'll get likes and shares, which that's the juice going to the quality post you put up. And over time, once you have enough of these, your domain authority does, like that's how it builds. So Google wants to use that to their advantage. So why not let people put up as many YouTube videos as they want? How does Weebly have such a high domain authority? Is because anybody and their uncle can go and put up a web page on Weebly.
Right, and a good looking web page. Yeah, a good looking web page.
Yeah, and so like Google wants to play into that, especially since it's part of it's like how their algorithm is working right now. So when we're looking at these, Facebook is another 100, and we have Foursquare, that's a 92. So when you have these types of sites, you can actually send a lot more spammier type stuff to them, and they will just rank just like they did before, basically. Now there's some tricks and stuff, and I don't know if I covered this enough in the video. I know in some of the previous things that I've kind of seen in the Facebook group, there was some confusion on stuff. So I'll just if it's okay if I just walk through a couple of those things.
Oh, wonderful! Yeah, absolutely.
People should pay attention to. So let's just do a search real quick. So if you go in and you do like I don't know. Let's see what we got for Franklin SEO. So
Are we number
let's
one
see.
and
A lot
number
of these are the
three?
ones that we've already done. Yeah.
How did
I
that
figured
happen?
you might as well take that city too.
Yeah.
Oh, I did those as well.
So wait. What's going on?
Um,
Can I see Franklin SEO? Sorry, this is interesting to me. I haven't even looked at this at all. Can you go back to page one? So we're number one with the YouTube video. Who are these people, and where do they get off thinking that they can be in between our YouTube rankings?
well, this
SEO
hasn't been
Franklin.
our focus
Yeah.
quite yet, but it can
Oh,
be shortly behind it.
okay. Okay. Well, that sounds good. All right. So we're number one and number three, though. I feel pretty good about that. Pretty good. Pretty awesome. Is that Yelp
Yeah,
page ours, or is it somebody else's?
yeah,
Ours.
that's ours.
Ooh. So we're number one,
I
number
believe
three, and
so.
number five. Never gets old, folks. Never gets
Yeah.
old.
So let me take them to a different one.
Yeah.
So when you're
Absolutely.
starting out and you're looking, if this is for a client or your own site, um, let's just go to a search where we don't have the blanketing method going on. Um, so the first thing I'm looking for is we have to find these high domain authority sites, and my thought process is always like it's going to be easier to rank something that Google already has ranked versus trying to put something new in and then trying to force that down Google's throat, basically. So it can still be done the brute force way, but it's just easier if you just pick something that's already there. So what I'm doing is I'm going through and I'm looking for high domain authority sites, which are typically like, most of your social properties are that way, your citation sites that you do for your business things are that way. Here's a press release. Those are also high domain authority. So right here, so on page 3, I see a Facebook ranking for that keyword search. So I know that Facebook is going to be one of the properties that I want to pick for part of the blanketing method because they already have one in there. We just have to do more juice than them, which is very easy to do with GSA. So here's another one. Here's a WordPress. We can go and create a subdomain on WordPress, free. You put up like 2 or 3 pieces of content, and then that's your second property. As you go through here, I'm trying to find a citation one, so because that's the one that people were having a hard time with trying to get those up. Um, let's see. See, there's Pinterest. So like these are all the things in your list that you'd want to pick out, and you can go and this is the Moz Bar Quick Links is just a free plugin that you can throw into Firefox or your Chrome. So when you open up the page, you can see what the domain authority is. So here's one finally. So here's a Yelp. So I know that's a citation one. So let's go check that out. And hopefully it's not so good. So this is a category Yelp page that's already ranking in Google. So there's 2 things that you need to do. Now, because Google has changed things to be domain authority versus PageRank, you can come in here and so anywhere I go on Yelp is going to have domain authority 100 because it's based off of the total domain, right? And this just happens to be a URL on that domain. So the advantage of this is, when we put up our own business in here, now we can steal the juice from this page. So when you're on the same site, then it comes back down to like a PR type basis. Like when both things are the same, since they're using domain authority, then it defaults to PR. They'll rank whatever is stronger between the two.
So in that case, PR is more, really in many cases, turned into more of a tiebreaker.
Yeah, exactly. Like when all other things are equal, then that's the tiebreaker at the end. But whereas before it used to be like the driving factor. So how do we get on this? So there's 2 things I want people to know, and these weren't, I kind of briefed on them in the videos, but I don't know if it was clear to people. So when you come onto here, sometimes Google won't replace this listing with your individual business listing that you're trying to do. So I'm just going to open this one up and get to that in a minute. But so the one thing you need to do to get up on this, we have to go get 2 reviews. So if we get 2 reviews on average, you might have to get 3. That should put you up onto this page. And so then when you start applying your GSA method, because this page is linking to this one through, these links, everybody can see this, I hope. That way you can kind of link jack that page. You're stealing the authority, and because you have more PR, Google will replace your individual listing here instead of this category page that we're on. So that's one thing that you need to keep in mind. Sometimes you have to do review to get that to kick over. And then the second thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you're sending links to the right URL on your business, because sometimes you'll end up with stuff that gives like a crazy URL string. Like sometimes you'll have question equals 9256 whatever. It's like a little bit of a string on here that doesn't apply. Well, if I took this, let's just say for example that this was the URL string, I wouldn't send GSA to this. We have to find what Google is indexing. And so typically it just comes down to taking out everything after the question mark in most cases. But just to double check, you always want to take that and throw it into your Google search and make sure that that's indeed what will pop up. And here it is, right? Well, even there, it doesn't have enough juice to even pull up by itself. So just make sure that you're targeting the right URL before you start doing your GSA, because if you send it to that other search string, it's not going to rank. It's because Google isn't indexing that page. So just be aware of that as you do as you work on doing these campaigns. The other thing is, even though these are high domain authority sites, you have to have enough content on there to get them indexed. If they don't have anything on there, it's not really going to get indexed. If you look at this, probably the reason why when I just pasted this in, it's not getting indexed is because there is no content on here. So how do you get content on there? That's done through your review. Once you do a review and you get some of those pieces of content, try to sprinkle in the keywords that you're trying to rank for into that, it's just going to go in and just, it's going to make it indexable, so it'll react to the GSA that you're doing. Same thing I saw with a lot of people trying to rank their Facebook pages. They'll put up a new Facebook page and blast it. They're like, well, it's not ranking, this doesn't work. Well, you have to get content on that Facebook page in order for Google to index it, and then it'll rank. So just make sure you get enough content on there. And
how much is enough?
I usually try to get at least 350 words, and so that might be one review. 350 is like a paragraph or a paragraph and a half.
And we have a recurring question coming up. So what GSA is, Nick asked this, and Marshall asked this. I think Chris is asking this as well. So GSA is a linking tool, and basically what happens is there's a couple of these kind of tools out there. Magic Submitter is another one that we teach, where what they'll allow us to do is they'll allow us to post content on other sites that invite content. So there's lots and lots and lots of websites on the internet that leave an opportunity for you to post content on their website via blog comments or any number of means, posting articles of your own, creating profiles in membership communities, forum posts. There's tons and tons and tons of places on the internet right now, websites where people are inviting you, websites and Web 2.0s, where they're inviting you to post content on their website. And what a linking tool like GSA or like Magic allows you to do is to somewhat automate that process to a huge degree. And there are times, Jimmy, sometimes you're sending out millions of links. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, my verified list on GSA is 17 million, and that's not duped and that's not blog comments. So it's I have a massive list, but when you first start GSA, it's more about building that list, and as you get those higher quality links going, I mean, you can literally just rank stuff in a matter of days. Like, um, you know, I've had people contact me and it's like you've maybe had 3 days to rank this video or whatever it was that they wanted me to rank, and it's like number one,
Yeah.
and it just stays there. It doesn't go anywhere.
And that's in your domination area. And Jimmy's going to have an upcoming. One of the reasons this is such a critical lesson, um, and the way we're doing this, we're handling this very carefully. Jimmy's agreed to do this. He'd agreed to do 2 follow-up webinars. He's already done one with Greg. He's got another one coming up with Greg. But we're using this as a little bit of a supplement. This whole training is not about domination. We're going to get into more. I just really, in a lot of ways, I really just wanted to introduce you to Jimmy, and because Jimmy's a really important part. There's so many things about it. Like, first of all, Jimmy's just such an important individual inside of OMG. He's a Project Xer. He's been a member of our community. He spoke at OMG Live, got a standing ovation. I should have began by showing you Jimmy's standing ovation. The audience, just so you know, actually saying Jimmy Kelly was a bullfrog for Jimmy because they were so excited to hear from him. My voice is, by the way, a little rough because Jimmy and I were yelling at each other last night. Not yelling in a humorous way. Jimmy and I had a lot of fun. But we were up at how late were we talking, Jimmy? Till like,
I mean, I think it was like 3 a.m.
Yeah. We were really working hard on this particular event. But it's also, I see a number of new OMGers in the audience that have appeared on webinars. Dave Keys is here, and Glenn Ingram's here. I see Dwayne here. I just see a lot of OMGers that are also having success and contributing back to the community, and that's how it started with Jimmy. He was just had some success and shared some of this stuff with us, and then shared a little bit more, and got people fired up and helped people have more success. And it really has just continued to grow and grow. So it's neat to introduce you to Jimmy right now, a little bit more intimately, on a little bit more of a personal basis. And then, of course, we're also doing a great job of answering a lot of questions that you may have, or helping. A lot of what I'm trying to do here is help open you up. Kind of help open up your heart to what's possible with the just a few of the technologies that are available inside of OMG NHP 2014 Project X. And there's a lot more out there, but we're kind of opening you up, and you're seeing a little bit more about the money getting side of things. And so, let me know if you're enjoying yourself right now, and what your thoughts are. I actually want to do something. I want to bring, just to get some perspective. I'm always curious for perspective of people. So I want to do something. I want to bring somebody live. I want to bring a couple people live just to contextualize, and then I want to get into some question answering here in a second. Jimmy, where are we at with this? Are we a little bit rounded out with this lesson, or did I stop you kind of midstream?
No, I think that's pretty good. I wanted to just touch on that last part there, just because I know there was a little confusion from the training videos on a few people. So
yeah, I thought that was
great.
Sure
that was hit home this time.
Yeah, I thought that was great. What I want to do is I want to bring Dave Keys live here for a second. I'm going to actually bring a couple people live and get a little bit of feedback. Dave, are you there? Do you have a headset on? I didn't. This is a little bit entirely unscripted, so I didn't know if you have. Dave, are you there? Yeah, I don't think Dave's headset's live. Okay, well, hopefully Dave. Dave, if you wind up getting your headset live and you want to come live, let us know. I'm going to try to bring Glenn Ingram live. Glenn, are you there?
Hi guys, how you doing?
Hey, this is exciting. You didn't know I was going to bring you live. You may have suspected it, because I'll do that kind of thing.
You always keep us on our toes. That's good.
That's good. To give everybody an idea of who Glenn is, now you may recognize his name. Glenn's been extremely active inside of the Project X Beginners Acceleration and Support Group. Glenn's had a lot of success coming into OMG, and right away, I think, Glenn, in your first 30 days, you rolled up around $17,000 worth of income, and you recorded a wonderful, wonderful video with me that's right smack dab in the middle of folks' members areas. Actually, Jimmy, I'll take back the the screen for now, and then I'll kick it back over to you when we go back into some other stuff. But I want to be able to show this stuff. By the way, Glenn, meet Jimmy. Jimmy, meet Glenn.
Hey, Jimmy, nice to meet you, man.
You ran Jimmy off, Glenn. Good job.
My bad. I can't take
Oh,
me
sorry
anywhere.
about that. I accidentally muted myself. It's nice to meet you.
Okay, great. All right, I'm going to make myself a presenter here for a second. So this is your inside of your Project X Spring area. This is your breaking news feed. Somebody pointed out, by the way, that some of that new stuff that just came in is in this new web design area, and this is going to be a big growing part of Project X. We really want you to have success with web design. You can really sell websites for a lot of money, and it can be a great way to acquire clients. Anyways, I'm scrolling down through the latest news area, and this is a video right here with Dave Keys, and this is a video right here with Glenn Ingram. And Glenn actually used to work for the Yellow Pages. So I really recommend that you watch this video with Glenn. It's really cool, some wonderful insights into how Glenn has gotten such a fat start because he just joined us at the very beginning of 2014. Glenn, let me ask you, because I want to get a little bit of feedback based on what we're talking here with Jimmy, because you've done some stuff, I know, with ranking YouTube videos, and that's gone well for you. So I want to get a little bit of, first of all, are you having fun on this event today?
Yeah, I always like to be on events where you can learn more than 2 or 3 things, and so by having you and Jimmy, we're definitely going to learn a few things.
All right, great. And now, were there any fuzzy spots for you with what Jimmy was going over that we can help cover a little bit better for you?
Oh, I think that last thing you just went over was great because I had a YouTube video, or not a YouTube, a Facebook page that was ranking for one of my friends that was doing great, and mine wasn't doing very well, and it's because I had those stupid numbers at the end of it.
Oh, great. Great. Okay, great. So that helps now then?
Definitely.
All right, excellent. All right. Well, I really appreciate that, and I want to thank you, by the way, on behalf of the folks in the beginners area. And I love. Actually, I'm going to make Glenn an organizer so he can see your thank yous. Glenn's really been wonderful. He volunteered to jump inside of the beginners area, and he's been answering questions and so forth. And I think that's been killer. So if you'd like to thank Glenn, he can actually see the question box. He can kind of see your question box and what you're saying. So if you'd like to thank him, I would like you to thank him. I'm going to thank him in the question box. Send to all. And Glenn, hopefully you can see that there's lots and lots of thank yous pouring in at the bottom of the question box. I don't know.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Again, he's a guy. He's got daughters. He's trying to figure out how to pay for college for daughters. You're thinking about moving to California. Is that right, Glenn?
I have twins that are juniors in high school right now, and they want to go to college out there. And if I move out there in the next 90 days, it's going to save me $100,000 a piece from in-state tuition. So it's kind of a no-brainer.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy. All right, well, great. Well. Anyways, we want to thank Glenn because it really just heaps. Somebody said thanks heaps. It really matters. OMG is a city on a hill, and we really appreciate you coming in and sharing that. I think that really matters. So thank you so much, Glenn.
Oh, you're welcome, man. Thanks a lot.
Okay, I'm going to mute Glenn for now. And I'm going to try Dave Keys one more time because he was messaging me and saying that he might be available. Oh, there's 2 Dave Keys here. That's what's going on. Dave, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Somehow there's 2 Dave Keys on. Do you have a twin?
My software redlined out. I had to relaunch.
Okay, great. So have you been able to be on and to introduce folks to Dave? Dave's been a wonderful, wonderful member. This is one of the reasons why we open up to new groups of Project X, and we never know who's going to come along for this spring group, and of course for the previous groups. But Glenn, much like Glenn, Dave joined us at the beginning of the year, and he's just had extraordinary success. You're up to about $20,000 a month at this point. Is that right?
$20K, buddy.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's a huge amount of money. And it's really, by the way, can you let people know that the 20K is way more than 10K?
Oh, absolutely. It's way more.
It's like weirdly more, right? Like you wouldn't think.
It is.
Yeah. I know that may be kind of an odd out of the blue statement for people. But it's a weirdly larger sum of money. So I want to
10K is like a straitjacket compared to 20K. 20K gives you a lot of choice, a lot of flexibility.
and most importantly, a lot of chance to sock money away, which is
Absolutely.
the big opportunity. Now you've been on this event. I've seen you in the question box. What do you have anything for Jimmy? Or first of all, questions, comments. Has this been helpful to you so far? And I just genuinely want to know maybe confusion that you might have or aha moments with how we're doing this event, particularly today.
Or not, but it has been helpful. This very process enabled me to, I had one site go down after Penguin last October.
Yeah.
Since then, I have cranked up 2 videos, a LinkedIn profile, and my website for my primary money keyword, real estate SEO and real estate SEO expert. Those keywords, if you buy ads, cost like $7 and $8 a click respectively, and I'm ranking
Wow.
there, getting free traffic. And,
Is it okay for me to pull up the real estate SEO example?
Yeah, absolutely.
So real
And
estate SEO. Go ahead.
yeah, you'll see whether you use SEO or SEO real estate SEO expert. Yeah, there's the video, there's the LinkedIn.
That's
A little
great.
bit further down, you'll see my website.
Which one's yours? Oh, Solutions by
Yeah.
Dave. Yeah, right there. So that's
Yeah.
great. So you hopped right back up using this social stuff, and you're also doing this for your customers as well.
Absolutely, yeah, that's really killing it. One of my customers, I'm still dealing with the aftermath of an algorithm penalty, but in the meantime, I've gotten the 7-pack and got a video.
And it really gives you something to go with for customers. I want to kind of explain this. It's not this, and Dave, I think you can explain this to people. This stuff is not just this static process where you make a deal with somebody, the deal's the deal, and it just continues forever, nothing changes. It is a flow back and forth.
Ascension, my long-standing customer, my oldest customer, we just struck a project up that it's $5,000 a month.
Woo.
Yeah, I'm building him, specifically a PBN just for him, and really ramping that up, and he's fully on with it. We're seeing results already, by the way. A lot of things that we were stuck on.
Are you doing some of the social domination for them as well? Some of the Jimmy Kelly style domination?
Not for that one, but we're now starting to, pull into that and look at the strategies that we can do that with.
Because you can really, it gives you a lot of room to grow. And Jimmy, when you, this is one of the things that you really went for was people, for yourself and then for others, the opportunity to supersize your paychecks.
Oh yeah, when you start, even if you just start out with one property, or we start out with a few that we've gotten. I mean, once you give them the results, it's like, why wouldn't they want to rank for that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Throw this in. My customer that I was just talking about in 2012 and the first half of 2013, he did $50 million in retail sales of real estate.
Wow.
And obviously, his commissions are going to reflect that. So he's very happy with that, and he's always pushing me like, hey, find a way to spend more money and get me more results. So, I mean, that's his stance.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody's asking me, well, I'll try to get to all these questions all at the same time. I think that's very helpful. Now, did you have any specific aha moments during this event, or especially any questions or things that didn't make sense to you that we could clear up for you right now, Dave, since we got you live?
I was looking at Jimmy's strategies here. I think for me it was just confirmation of some things that I was kind of poking around the edges of, that these social sites are really, really just wide open.
Yeah.
The taking abuse thing, all of a sudden it was actually something you said about, that Google is inviting you to go and put up these,
Oh, and I want people to know about this. This is one of the biggest things. Back when there was an SEO product a while back, just kind of an introductory SEO product that I put together. Me and David Mills put together with another partner, and that's how Greg joined us. That's how we got to know Greg. And back then, this is all the way back at the end of 2009, beginning 2010, which in SEO is like ice ages ago. And one of the things I spotted was that Google was just in a frenzy to get websites built. They just wanted websites and blogs built out, and they really just wanted us to do it. And I think it was just kind of the beginning where they kind of felt like they were a bit at odds with Facebook, and they were really trying to encourage growth into the market. And so you could rank, Jimmy, you know about this. You could rank with the craziest stuff, right? Like you could just stick up an exact match domain, jam, thousands of backlinks to it, and they could just be the crummiest backlinks, and you could rank for the craziest things. But then the rules change.
Oh. Yeah, absolutely. Those were the good old days for sure.
Yeah.
Well, these are the new good old days. I don't know, like the stuff that we're doing right now, that's a great thing, because the thing is, back in those days, there was so much competition. Yeah, it was easy to rank. The problem was it was easy for everybody else too. And that invited a lot of competition. These days, these are the OMG days, really. I mean, you just have such an incredible advantage. And Dave, this was when you joined OMG, this was the biggest thing for you. I love, you said this on a recent event. I want to put the word out on this, because client acquisition is and should be on the minds of almost every single person on this event today. And the number one question you think, you put this great, and I'd like you to explain it. I'll say it, and then maybe you can kind of state it back if you feel like doing it, Dave. And by the way, Dave can see your question box. Your clients to you, they have one question to you. Can you rank me? And you have one question back to them. What's that question?
One of the recent clients that I was talking to, and I said, look, I can float a piece of paper if you can afford it.
Right.
Can you afford, I turn the tables. Can you afford me? That really is the question. I can rank your website, or we can get a website. If you got a problem with your site, then we can create another site or have it created, and I can rank it if you're able to afford it. If you're able to invest in it, then we can get you ranked. The question isn't ranking, the question is investment.
Right. This is turning the tables. Okay? And this is the OMG way.
Yeah, it's really not a matter of can we rank. It's a matter of, if you can invest, then we can give you success.
All right, great. I
demonstrate it. I show my other clients. It's like, here's what we did in 60 days in Texas. Here's what we did, in 70 days in Albuquerque. Here's what we did for this little tiny market up in Washington. And we just keep, show results.
I love it. And again, if you're brand new, you can use our examples, water damage St. George. You can use our examples, Gold IRA. You can use our examples, National SEO. We welcome you to use as example sites as something that you can do for your clients. Folks, if you have a thank you for Dave Keys, and actually, Dave, it could be a great time. Yesterday, you actually bought Law of Implication was it for your brother?
It was for my brother, yeah.
So why was that?
He was very interested in that. He is president of a Bible college for Native Americans back east. And, they are struggling right now to get, new students. And so I'm working on SEO for him. And I just got to talking about, a lot of things about marketing and message and intent and figuring out what people are going to be motivated by. And so we, as I kept talking to him over several conversations, I said, it's because, and I'd mentioned something in Law of Implication, and then it's because of this, and then I just started saying, I've been taking this course, and I say taking because I keep going back and consuming it again and again and more.
Yeah, you're like me, because I've been through some of the videos 4 or 5 times, almost all the videos at least twice.
And I'll say something, and I say, well, this comes from Law of Implication. And he's like, well, what is that? And I said, well, one of the primary concepts is that your brain is not you. You are not your brain. And that's the starting point, that you can begin to...
I pray about that every day.
To be wrong. Absolutely. Yeah. You can be wrong and succeed by acknowledging and understanding that you can be wrong. And that sounds counterintuitive, but it's so powerful.
Yeah, yeah, it's so powerful. Well, anyways, everybody here, you have a law of implication area inside of Project X that will give you a great start. And I urge you to go over to lawofimplication.com and pick up the full course. And I think,
Byproduct. I'm putting up another video today on OMG. I forget if it's a beginners group, but half of that video is going to be about law of implication. Like, look, guys, if you're throwing money at this and throwing money at that and buying Web 2.0 PBNs, no offense to whoever's doing that, but if you're doing all these things trying to see what works, and you haven't bought law of implication, stop investing time and money into all those things and go take the law of implication. It's 99 bucks. It'll be the best $99 you ever spent.
oh, great. Really, really appreciate Dave putting the word out. If you could thank Dave, and Dave's been a wonderful contributor to our wonderful City on the Hill community. So really, really appreciate him. Please thank him in your question box. I thought that was invaluable. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm glad to introduce you to Jimmy. Oh, and by the way, Jimmy, Dave, Jimmy. Great.
Hey, Jimmy.
Great.
Jimmy, hey, Dave. Nice to meet you.
All right, great. Okay, I'm going to mute Dave, but Dave is in your question box. I want to grab actually a beginner or two here and just get a little bit more feedback, and then we're going to go rapid fire into questions. I want to see Vince. Do you have a microphone? Let me find out if Vince has a microphone.
Yes.
Vince, are you there? Vince, I can actually hear you. I can hear you typing.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I do have a microphone on my computer. I don't have my headset in, but thanks, Mike. I'm here.
Well, this is cool. I'm very happy to introduce you guys to Vince. You've probably seen, if you're involved in the beginners group, you've probably seen Vince posting quite a bit. I've known Vince since I was like 12. We actually went to elementary school together. He was one of the first people I met when I moved to Virginia, and we actually we were friends back then, and we were in school together all the way through when we graduated high school in Centerville. And Vince actually contacted me a few weeks ago. And I'm being a little bit of I'm going to just mute Vince for a second, because then I'll bring him back live. Vince contacted me back, and he actually, just a couple weeks ago, he joined Project X Spring. It was kind of out of the blue. We'd been out of touch for a while. And Vince spotted us on a webinar and joined Project X, and he's been digging in. So Vince, I'm going to unmute you here in just a second. And I'm just curious, how today's event has been for you, and maybe if you have a couple questions or comments for Jimmy. So Vince, I just unmuted you.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Yes, Mike. Thank you for bringing me on. And I gotta say, this webinar is great. It's helping me out. I have been digging in, and I do appreciate you starting the group for beginners. And we had talked a little bit, and I was saying, at least for me, coming aboard, it's about getting to do the basic things first. And I agree with Dave. I've been reading, watching up on my law of implication.
Nice.
And it's great stuff. And I put it into one of my daily routines. I keep on. And like we had been, talked earlier, I'm pretty tenacious when it comes to learning things and doing things like, such as that. And so all the stuff that you've been putting on, it's been really great. And thank you. And,
well, I want to thank you back, Vince, because you and I actually sat down on Skype the other day, and it was actually very influential for me. And that was part of the reason we actually put the beginners group together. It's actually one of the big reasons why, and this just dropped in your members area today. We just added this web design walkthrough, because that was so eye-opening for you when I opened up the back office of National SEO and you could see WordPress and how it worked. I really saw a light bulb start going off in your head, and you started feeling like things weren't so crazy or difficult.
That is correct, yes. And I just noticed you put that on there today too, and thank you, because I'm definitely going to dig into that as soon as we get off this webinar. And like I said, I'm also a beginner. Now I know how to do some things like WordPress and some basic stuff, but really, when I'm talking to clients and I'm, answering questions, I think this is, for me at least, it's very good to have the, the knowledge to do this stuff so I can walk through. A client will say, in case I do have to build a website, I can, successfully be able to talk them through that. And of course, like I always said, knowledge is power, and that's, for me, that's where it starts.
I
So
really
being able
agree.
to do this.
Now
Yeah.
Vince is somebody with basically zero tech background coming into this, but you have a strong sales background. And one of the big
Yes.
things when it comes to sales, you told me about when you first started working at TGI Fridays, and you just didn't even know the menu.
Right.
And one of the first things you had to do was just really understand the menu, and that somehow gave you a lot of power when it came to selling and becoming a good waiter, and then you've gone on and on from there.
Yes, well, when and this is like you just mentioned it too, and this is when I first started serving. I had never done it before. I had worked in some management. I've worked with people, but I've never served before. So getting started was really, really tough for me because I didn't get the training that I needed, and it wasn't just about the menu, but it was about multitasking. It was talking to people. It was just doing a whole bunch of things. And
if you're going to multitask, you really need. That's all the more reason to have a command of what's going on. Because if you're trying to multitask and you're a little weak in one area, and I don't want this to intimidate anybody. This is good news, because the more you dig into your materials, the more, especially for day job killer stuff, although it's true for this is true for affiliate marketing as well. The more you know your product, the better you get to know it, the easier it's going to become to sell things on the fly and to improvise and to make decisions that are really going to rocket you forward.
And absolutely, I can't agree with you more. And I think what we're doing, it sells itself. Like what we talked. I'm not a salesperson. I don't have to sell it because it's either they want it for their business or they don't. But it's just a matter of doing it. And you're absolutely right. I can't agree with you more.
Yeah. I really appreciate that, Vince. Just thank you so much for coming live. I'm actually going to make Vince an organizer. Vince, if you leave the event, which is fine, just make sure not to end the webinar. And I'm just going to make Vince an organizer so that way he can see your comments in the question box. And if you want to thank Vince, he's been very active on the Facebook group, and it's a real good sport in coming live today. Thank you so much, Vince. I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Great. I'm going to mute Vince here for a second. All right. So this is great. Vince is getting lots and lots of thank yous. What I'm going to do is, what I want to do, goodness. Yeah, I want to just take a second here. Let's do a couple things. I think it'll be valuable. Yeah. Yeah, let me see if I can bring one more person live. Lauren, do you have a microphone live? You probably would be mortified with that question. I just like kind of getting feedback when it comes to this stuff. You can find out if Lauren has a microphone. And also, if you feel like coming live, just let me know, Lauren. I talked to Lauren the other night. She was talking to Jason. I just think that it's an interesting, maybe. That's not an answer. I said maybe. All right, I'm going to give Lauren a shot. Let's see what happens. Lauren, are you there?
I am here.
All right. I guess maybe it was you guess so. Well, so first of all, thanks for coming on this event. What time is it there?
It's nearly 4:30 in the morning.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for coming joining us at 4:00 in the morning. I actually met you the other day. You just joined Project X just a couple days ago. This is all very very new to you, and
yes.
It was actually really helpful. This is one of the reasons why I try to talk to individuals that are members, because I find out strengths and weaknesses and things that are going on. And we got to talking about Australian SEO, and really one of the great opportunities in SEO is that it really is different in different places. And the more it's different, the more that kind of gives you an edge, because then everyone can't compete. Well, we wound up, and you got the chance to talk to Jason Boyd, and
Yes.
and Jason sat down with you. Now, Jason's somebody who's having tremendous success. He's made it as much as $50,000 in 1 month, and he started as he started a lot like you, Lauren, where he was an absolute beginner, a ranked beginner. I don't know if he told you this, but he was a police officer who just retired out of the blue. So he did tell you this. So what was it like getting to meet him? And because he talked to me last night about it a little bit, he said, "Wow, it was really cool talking to Lauren, because I really in teaching some things, it really helped him kind of stretch himself and learn some stuff. So what was that like for you getting to meet Jason?
Oh, it was awesome. It's really got me so excited about this whole project, and it's given me a lot of confidence as well. And he's literally up the road from me, which is funny too. He lives up the road, so yeah, it's been really, really well. He's been super helpful, and just I feel so lucky right now.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. Well, we OMG really is a city on a hill. It's a people helping people situation. It is individuals. There's no group. I mean, it's a city on a hill, but that city's made up of individual members. And so I just think that that's really neat. What are some of the early steps that Jason kind of suggested for you in getting started over the next few days?
He suggested to have get my site ranking well, and also something about domain, I think. I'm not quite sure. I am still learning.
No, it's okay. And just so everybody knows, Lauren's not a professional webinar person. Have you ever been on a webinar before? This is probably your first time being live.
Well, no, I've been on a webinar before, but,
right,
but not talking.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's not
yes,
there's not too many people live right now. Just so you know, it's just 100 or so of your closest friends. So don't fuss. Don't worry. By the way, Lauren.
No worries.
Lauren, I'd like to introduce you to Jimmy.
Oh, hi.
Jimmy, are you
nice
there?
to meet you. Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Now, one of the things that actually Jason's working on right now, Lauren, is Jason's actually working on a blanketing project in Melbourne, doing some Web 2.0s, using some of Jimmy's techniques and so forth. And so that's going to be really neat. You can look forward to that. I want everyone to know that inside of your Facebook group, almost no matter what country you're from, if you're from America, certainly, but if you're from Australia, New Zealand, the UK, almost wherever in the world you're from, there's probably somebody else in your region that you can talk to, that you can reach out to, and get to talking. And again, it is a people helping people thing. Jason didn't charge you; you just talked to him. It was nice. Was that just generally the way it worked?
Yeah, it did charge me. No, it was good.
All right, great. Well, I just want to thank you for being such a good sport and coming live and talking to us today. And
anytime.
By the way, are you enjoying? I know that that's a little bit. I told you when we got on Skype the other day and talked that it really is a matter of embracing confusion. Is really a real power technique when it comes to this whole OMG situation. I told you actually a couple things, and I'll reiterate this advice. I told you to get off everyone else's lists.
Yes, you did.
Did you do it?
Yes, I did.
Did it feel good?
Oh, yes, it did.
All right, good. Get off everyone else's list. I also told you to embrace confusion and overwhelm.
Yes. Yes, you did.
And I also told you to do law of implication.
Yes, you did.
All right, did you do all those things?
I did.
And is it helping?
And I still am.
And is it helping?
Oh, it's changing everything for me. It's helping tremendously.
That's wonderful. Well, Lauren, I appreciate you coming live on this event. You've been a wonderful, wonderful sport.
Thank you for having me.
Will it mortify you if I make you an organizer so you can see everyone's comments and thank you and so forth? All right, great.
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, great. So I'm going to make Lauren an organizer, and that way she can see. If you'd like to thank her, kind of brought her on a bit out of the blue. So this is so this is new for her. If you want to thank her, there's now that you're an organizer. If you look below, there's a tab that says screen sharing, dashboard, attendees,
yes.
audio, webcam, and then if you open up the questions one, and then scroll to the very bottom. Yeah, if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see lots and lots of thank yous coming in right now.
Oh, really? Wow.
Do you see it?
Yes, I can.
All right, great.
That's fabulous. Oh, wow, thank you.
Yeah, and Lauren has joined the new OMG Beginners group, so she's in there as well on Facebook. If you haven't joined the Beginners group and you'd like to, then make sure to add me on Facebook, and then you can add me on Facebook at mikelongmagic@gmail.com, and then send me a message. And I have to be a friend to add you. So my little way of getting friends, because otherwise I can't get friends. Um, so just add me as a friend on Facebook, and then send me a message, and I'll add you to the beginners group. And Lauren, I'm going to mute you now, but thank you so much for coming on live. And by the way, Lauren, you probably don't, but did you have any questions or comments for Jimmy now that you've gotten a chance to meet the one, the only Jimmy Kelly?
Oh, not at the moment, as I am all overwhelmed and my brain's just, whew, and it is, yeah, very early in the morning. But I just want to say a big thank you. It's been awesome. Your wealth of knowledge is amazing, and I look forward to more in the future.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I think sometimes I geek out a little too much.
Oh,
But hopefully people
nothing
can bear
wrong
with
with
that.
All right, wonderful.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks, Jimmy.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right, great. All right, so I'm going to mute Lauren. So thank you, Lauren. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to go into kind of a rapid fire Q&A mode. I want to do one very last thing before we get to that. Jimmy, I want to open up the playbook. Can we do that?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, great. And was that nice for you to get to meet a few more OMGers?
Yeah, it's always nice. I like seeing it. It's just fun watching people's progression as they start and then where they're at in, 3 to 6 months down the road. It's always
Absolutely.
fun watching that transformation.
It really is. And who did you like the most? No, I'm joking. No, that's not fair. I'm not really asking that question. So let's go into Day Job Killer templates. I believe this is where we've got Jimmy Kelly's playbook. Here it is right here. Jimmy Kelly Dominate and Jimmy Kelly's playbook. And I'm going to click here to download this. Jimmy, can you give folks, this is something that has just made you as much as $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in a single month. And you know what? This is an ODT, so I don't know how well that's going to work for me. Hopefully I can open it up in Microsoft Word or something like that. Let's see. I'm going to try to open this. I'm going to try to open this up so we can look at it. Let's see. What's the name of it again? I don't have ODT on Touch X. Sorry, bear with me here for a second. I'm just trying to find this document. Sample proposal. Here we go. All right, so let's open this with maybe with text edit. This isn't going to give you the full feeling of this document because I opened it up in text edit, which is not at all the native format. But it'll give you some idea. And let's see, 18. Okay. So hopefully this is a little bit better here. Okay, so Jimmy, this is an idea where you're, and actually this doesn't look very good at all. So my apologies. Like it'll look much better in open office format or in Microsoft Word or something like that. So Jimmy, what's the idea here and how does it work with, this is basically a proposal that you hand over to clients for them to sign up with you and do business with you.
Yeah. And essentially, I guess an overview is usually start out with a analysis on their site. Because with analysis, I mean, for one, you're seeing if there's any penalties or anything going on. So, you typically don't want to get into client work if there's an existing penalty.
Do you want to look at our new client site? Do you want to open it up and take a look at his site live here?
Oh, that's okay. I mean, that would be a lot more tools and stuff to bring in.
Yeah, it
But
might make things go a little crazy. All right. Well, anyways, go ahead.
we probably do that on the next one though.
Okay, that sounds good.
Um, so so there's so you do like an overview basically and kind of get a feel for their site, where it's at. You kind of look at on-page stuff. And besides like your normal link building uh, or ranking proposal that you do, by doing that you can kind of see other methods and avenues that you can use to maybe stack that original proposal. And so when I put that proposal together, I'm looking for other avenues where we can upsell the contract to the client. And so if they did have a, a penalty, I can include that as part of the contract, where you're going to fix the site first and then move on to doing the other methods you do to rank their site. Um, and it just progresses. You're ranking the site as one of them. You can tack on Google Places as another package. You tack on the blanketing method as another package. You can tack on website design.
Yeah, website design, I
Um,
really want to point this out. This is one of the reasons why we're really doubling down on website design inside of OMG. You can sell a website design to a customer. You might find out that they're about to pay $5,000 for a website and say that you'll do it for 2,500. And I'll tell you, one of the things that you can do is just sell websites cheap and just say, listen, the reason I sell them cheap, the reason I'm going to sell you a website for $500 is because I don't want somebody else to screw it up, because I'm going to wind up doing SEO for you anyways. And because with my particular design, the way I do it, I have kind of a unique formula that's going to help your website really thrive when it comes to SEO. And otherwise, I'd have to go back and just change what somebody else does, and sometimes they cause some damage. So you can say things like this, and it's very, very powerful. So one of the things that you're doing here, Jimmy, is you're really supersizing the order. And one of the great things about people having this document here is they can see all the different kinds of things that you can propose and do for people, and price it out.
yeah, and I think too, it's like, I've done the method too, where you base off like an hourly time where you're charging for that. But I think I've been able to close more deals when it's more of a package thing, because it's more simple for them. They kind of can understand like what's expected. So like I use the proposal to kind of set the expectations of what they can expect from them giving me money. And then after they agree to whatever packages you put together on this, then you go back in with the contract. So you're covering your bases on any legal issues.
Great, great. And just so you folks know, I personally don't use contracts on stuff. Jimmy does, but for your purposes, don't worry about them for now. Okay, so the way to find that document is to go into monetization, go to the monetization lesson page, and go into the day job killer area, and then you're going to go into Jimmy Kelly's Dominate and Jimmy Kelly's Playbook right here in monetization, and that's going to be really, really valuable. Jimmy, do you mind if we go into some rapid fire Q&A mode, and we'll just try to fly through things, and we'll wrap this webinar up? Does that sound good?
Yeah, yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, great. All right, and we really want to thank Jimmy once again. I'm really going to strive to get to everyone's questions here. I've been as much as possible trying to get a backlog of the questions. I want to point some things out right as we're getting started here. Number one, get off everybody else's list. Give me the number one if you've gotten off of tell me if you've gotten off of everyone else's list yet. Let me know in the question box, and I'll proudly put your name out there. Number two, have you embraced confusion and overwhelm? Because that's the feeling of your brain getting smarter. That's literally the feeling of your brain getting smarter, is feeling confused and overwhelmed. Have you done law of implication? And of course, have you joined our groups? So let me see. Are we? Oh yeah, Paul. What I mean is get off everybody else's list. Don't be on any other. Don't be getting email promotions about anything having to do with online money getting, because it's just going to confuse you. You need to just be focused on OMJ. How many people have absolutely just gotten off of? All right, Dave McCormick says I'm off of all lists. Oh, that's great. GBHG says I had to drop everything I know about SEO, then I ranked. That's wonderful. Oh, that's funny. Tom James says I'm confused about number two. That's great. That's great. And Pete, actually, I think you have been. Yeah. Oh no, Edgar says he's still getting spammed by all those lists. Yeah, get off of them. Get off of them. Janet says LOI is awesome. That's great. Angela says yes, implication. Yes, join group. That's wonderful. Angela, thank you very much. I think Angela's still hanging on to everyone else's list. We should get a little peer pressure here to help her get off of other people's lists. Jeff says he's gotten off of some. Mike says still unsubscribing from a ton of lists. Nick says yes, 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 and hell yes. Awesome. Pat says number 2, yes. Ouch. Good for you. CC, yes. Monica, not yet. Okay. Gary says still battling. Still battling. That's good. All right, great. So we have a lot of people doing it. Steven has been getting off lists. Anders, yes. Pete, yes. Ann, yes. Angela, embrace confusion. That's good. Jeff, yes. Monica, Paul, great. No, that really matters. JC, Pete, Patrick. Marshall's still working on it. Okay, great. All right, so that's a quick primer there. Let's get rapid fire. At this point, if you don't see your question come up, please put it back in the question box. Okay, so can you rank, and maybe what we'll do is end the webinar. We'll talk maybe a tiny bit about Death Star Reloaded. So I tried to put down the names of the people who are asking the questions starting a little bit later on. Earlier, I forgot to do that, so it might be a little harder. Can you rank a Facebook page for multiple keywords? And if so, Jimmy, how do we do that?
It's easier to do it if you can get the keyword in your URL that you're doing for your Facebook page. But if it's related, you can get it for multiple keywords. And it'd be a matter of getting more of that type of content put onto your page. So whether you're doing a share, you're putting a video up, trying to get that text onto that Facebook page will help you if you want to more branch out into other keywords. But it definitely helps if they're kind of, like a long tail mash of what your primary goal is.
All right, great.
That you want to rank.
All right, Angela's got a question. I'm mostly going to try to shy away from PBN questions, but I will answer her question. Angela, thanks for joining us, by the way. Angela wants to know, what do we put on our PBN sites? She meant PBN. I'm quite sure she meant PBN sites. I'm also not sure about how much or what material should be there. For your PBN, of course, set it up the way Greg sets it up. Most of the content is just going to be what you're linking to. So if we're linking to national SEO, let's say you have a PBN site that used to be about dogs, about dog training, and then you want to fire links to national SEO, then you'd have a short article on SEO. It would be an original article, a short article on SEO, and then that would then link to national SEO. Then let's say then you had another site that was about fashion and clothing. Then you're still on the dog site, but you're going to have an article on fashion and clothing, and then that article is going to link to your to the site that you're intending to send a link to. So Angela, hopefully that answers your question. Ted says, how much did you charge the locksmith for a small order? I charged $600 per month, and I told him it was going to go up to $1,000 as soon as we start ranking, which is going to be in a few days because Jimmy is evil. So that's the answer to that. Monica, is that a Facebook group or is it another one for beginners? We have 2 Facebook groups. We have the one that everyone in OMG is in, which is the OMG NHB team Facebook group. That's the larger group. And then we have a beginners group. To join that group, email me or add me on Facebook at mikelongmagic@gmail.com. And then add me as a friend. And then once I've confirmed you, send me a message and I'll add you to the group. Stephen. Stephen pointed out that below monetization, we showed this, is the web design. Lloyd, can you send, this is a great question, Jimmy. Lloyd says, and Lloyd has such great questions. Lloyd says, can you send links safely to Google Places listings in order to influence Local 7 rank as well as organic ranking?
I don't notice that it affects your Google Places ranking, but you can definitely rank those in the organic SERPs. I've done that a lot of times. It's kind of your choice whether you want to do it or not. I mean, I haven't gotten busted yet from it, but, I don't know how much you want to poke the bear in that sense. That'd be like a personal call, I guess, depending on how much you're valuing that Places page. But you could definitely rank them organically.
Nick, PBN is Private Blog Network. PBN stands for Private Blog Network. That's where we're using expired domains to help rank our websites, and you'll find out about that in your supremacy area. Okay, let's move along. That was just a quick answer. Dave says, quick question. If you have the time, when listing your citation, do you use your PO box address if your business doesn't have a physical address other than your personal home address? I think you need to use a virtual office in this case, Dave. Is that correct, Jimmy?
Yeah, the safest way is to do a virtual office. I still see, so in your Google Places, you can say like customers come to this business, or you service customers of that area. I'd say if you are going to use the PO box method, one trick you can do in Google Places is, when you send out to get that PIN, and you might send it to the location that you want to do, like if it's like a UPS store or something. Right before you activate it, you can go in there and put like, if your mailbox is 102 at the UPS store, just put Suite 102 right before you activate it once you have your PIN in hand. Google can still kind of frown and look down on that, but so the safer method is go with a virtual office, but you can still get away with doing PO boxes using that method.
Yeah, and we're adding that on with National SEO right now. JC has a good tip for everybody, by the way, who's looking to get off of lists. Unroll Me. Unroll Me is a name of a site. Unroll Me, unroll.me, and you can use that to get off people's lists. Apparently, I haven't used that, but I have heard good things about it. Paul says, Mike, when you sign up a new client, do you do the work, or do you sub out some or all of it? Well, I have Greg and Jimmy, so that's a little cheating. But we do the work ourselves. No, and really, I do a lot of work myself. Jimmy, you know this. I'll set up the sites in a lot of cases. I'll do the Facebook pages, do the content. So really, me, Greg, and Jimmy, we do the work, but we do it most of it by hand. Greg outsources the article writing. Jimmy, you're not even hardly outsourcing when we're doing stuff for the clients, right? So you're just doing it yourself. You're a one-man gang.
Yes.
All right, great. Paul, I hope that helps you. So the answer is really we're doing almost all the work ourselves. Dave, who joined us earlier, says, I need to get in touch with Jimmy and enter his insights. Yeah, I agree. Sue says an example for the UK would be great. Sue, this is one of the things we're working on, and I appreciate you saying that. That's one of the reasons why I put Lauren in touch with Jason to see if she could work out how to get some example sites for herself that were more specific to her location. So that's a great recommendation, Sue, and we really take those kind of recommendations to heart. Lloyd, how do you charge for ranking social citations, ergo domination? You just charge a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of want to pay attention to how big the city is or the competition. I mean, you could do that on like a national keyword too if you wanted to, but like for the local stuff, I usually try to base it off of, how big is that city, and that kind of determines, the bigger the city is, typically the higher the domain authority sites are going to be in that niche. So if it's a super competitive city and a fairly decent keyword, I squash, I do less keywords for the package, but that's usually at least 1,500 for, 3 competitive keywords.
Yeah. Okay, great. And one thing that you may want to do, you have to kind of like look at things. I'm gonna send out a proposal a little bit later on today, and I'll be looking for about $800. A lot of times, I just want people to get started. I so often just really want people to get started with a smaller thing. You can put the domination out there and just get started. If you can get started, if you can get somebody paying you $300, $500, $700 a month, but you limit what you're giving them. You don't say, hey, this is going to be for page 1 through 10, ranking 1 through 10. They can understand that. They can understand that, hey, I'm just going to start with a website, like website video Facebook, or maybe website video Facebook Yelp, or website video Facebook Foursquare. You might start with just 2 or 3 or 4 at a lower price, and then let people know that you'll ramp up from there. Paul, I'm not exactly sure what this question meant. Approximately how long does it take to put this together? I can tell you, I think that I assume you're talking about like Nashville SEO's rankings. It took us a couple months to rank the site itself. I think Greg started on it in August and finished getting it to #1 in November. So August, September, October, November, 4 months. The social stuff blew up. Jimmy, what did it take? Like 2 months? 1 month?
Yeah, I think when we put that video together, that was like beginning to mid-January.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, because that's
yeah,
when
and we're in March right now, and it's been that way for a while. And Nashville SEO is very competitive, so yeah, very very possible. Dwayne, by the way, hey Dwayne, Dwayne's had a lot of success recently. That's wonderful. Dwayne says Canada too, really different results. Yep, we're aware of that, Dwayne, and we're working on more and more differentiating the various results on the search engines. Pat, I missed it. What's PR? PR is page rank. And it's kind of an older, more outdated method that Google uses to determine who's boss, who's best. Melvin, which toolbar is Jimmy using? The one with the M in the front.
That's the Mozbar Quick Links. And you could get to it if you just type that into the search. You should be able to find what that is. But it's just an add-on that can go into your Firefox browser or your Chrome browser. It's just like a quick free chat. You don't have to have an account or anything. It'll just display that page authority and domain authority when you're on that site or whatever web page you're on.
Thank you, Jimmy. Dennis, what is the name of the toolbar showing DA100? That's Moz. Amir, if I have a high-quality domain authority PBNs, does this help me rank for high competition keywords or make it faster? Amir, give me a little bit more information. Are you talking about the Death Star Reloaded? I assume that that's what he means. Do you think that's what he's talking about?
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming, because if that's what he's meaning, if you have a higher, so take this for instance, like the higher your domain authority, if you want to still, if you're looking at the PR still, which I don't think you should, but if you're still going there with your mind, it's a lot easier to build that PR on a high domain authority site. For instance, I can get a PR3 by doing like 10 social links to a high domain authority site versus, if it's a lower domain authority site, you're going to put a lot more juice there to pump up that PR if you're still gauging the PR. So hopefully that kind of makes sense.
All right, great. And Amir, we can just follow along with this if we didn't get your question answered. Joe, Mike, I'm a new member. Just joined last night. Congratulations, Joe. Where can I connect with you so I can be added to the Beginners Accelerated Facebook group? Facebook group. You can add me at mikelongmagic@gmail.com. And if that doesn't work, if you can't find me there, then just send me an email at this address and we'll work together to find you. Once I've added you as a friend, then message me. Paul says, how do you get SEO Quake?
Yeah, that's just another add-on for the web browsers. So yeah. Just go to your add-ons in there and do a search and just type in SEO Quake and it'll pull up.
All right. Firefox or usually Firefox for that kind of thing. Tim wants to know, is HostGator good to use? HostGator's fine. Host9's good. BizBuilder is good. Host9, BizBuilder. This is not something to be taken lightly. You need your things to be on a separate C-class IP, and you can review our previous webinar to get that, or it's in Greg's training, Tim. Marshall, you said I live in Mexico. Was wondering about local clients because I know it's different in the U.S. I'm not exactly sure where to go with this question, Marshall. Great question, I'm sure. First of all, remember, if you're overseas, you can get, or outside of America, remember, you can get American customers. And we're going to get more and more into how to do that, how to do things like using Craigslist and so forth to get customers in the U.S. If you're in Mexico or Canada or UK or Australia, we have tons of customers tons of members getting customers this way. So most of the same rules are going to apply. And where things are specialized, more and more, we're going to try to tell you how. We really care about giving you specifics. We mentioned there's different results with local domains between countries. Are there some specific tips you have for for Australia, Sydney in particular. I go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, the same principles apply as to the properties you're finding here in the U.S. You're looking for high domain authority sites. So like I've helped some people in Australia. Um, they didn't request a blanketing, but I've definitely pulled up, 2 or 3 results for them. And I think for Australia, like, the equivalent of Yellow Pages there would be like True Local, I think is the name of the citation. It's the next highest domain authority site. So each country has their own set of high domain authority sites, basically. So it's a matter of going out and finding those for your specific, go through page, put in your keyword and go through the list and look for the social or the directory listings that you're looking for. Go check the domain authority. If it's high, which you can see what's high in the training in Project X, then you know that you can do that blanketing method.
And listen, if it's not working, that's okay. Like in Australia, for example, YouTube is hit and miss. It just is. You may have to pump more links into it. That's okay. So it's just different. That's fine. It's the same for your competition. And if you do get videos ranked, they're going to be worth a lot more, charge more. And we're going to continue to work on this and continue to distinguish that because that's very important to us. Question for Mike: What are we supposed to be putting on our power sites as opposed to money sites? Let's see. Alex Becker mentions making the PR 4.5 site a directory site and then having sites that link to it, also booster sites, but PR be themed sites. I don't know what Mike does differently. What should we do for content on these sites? First of all, your stuff doesn't have to be themed. We very rarely take the time to theme things out. Sometimes if you have a lot of clients that are lawyers or something like that, then that's fine. The content on your site should be what you're linking to. So if you're linking to a site about cars, then the article is about cars. And so hopefully that helps with that. Janet, this call, I'd love to get yours and Jimmy's perspective on how and when a relative newbie to SEO should begin using GSA. I'm so eager to use it, but I wonder, should I set up a more firm foundation in SEO first? I'm a super fast learner. Jimmy?
So that's an interesting question. Like, I know like some people complained about because there's tools and servers that I recommend that you get in that training area, and it is a lot more than if you were going to start out going after the PBNs. So in that case, I would get down the basics first of like how you can utilize the PBNs to rank the money sites, because that's typically what most businesses are wanting, is get their money site up there first. And then secondary to that, doing that upsell on your contract, then you go into the blanketing at that point.
Yeah, it's really something for supersizing. Remember, you can also use Magic as a replacement, and in addition to GSA, and in addition, GSA is more powerful at this point with Jimmy's method, or Jimmy's total methodology with it. Remember, you can also rank your Facebook and your YouTube with your PBNs. We doing both. For real power jobs, we like to use GSA, Janet. So hopefully that'll give you more of a perspective. Gary, hi, my question is this. I have a website for over 2 years now. It's in the health and fitness area. In that site, I have a review for 3 products I feature. My new MGR, recall you indicated that we should not have reviews. No, reviews are good. Reviews are great. Like if you have an affiliate site, reviewing is fantastic. It's a lot like when we were talking to Vince earlier. The more you know about something, the more you know the product and you review it, that's going to really help you be more successful. So yeah, you can certainly put reviews on there. Tom, the more tightly you focus on a theme on your page, the more relevant your site is to the search engines. The more trusted the 2.0 link source, the higher the site and page will be. The more trust, authority, relevant source of the links. So I think this is more of a statement. Some more trust links from 2.0 to the money site. Okay, Tom. Jimmy, I don't see anything that I see is incorrect. Do you? Or anything
No,
you'd add to this?
Yeah, he's following along just fine. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Tom. Paul, is the Yelp listing a paid listing? No, it's free. GSA, what is GSA? I think we've explained that. So you can build a Yelp for your local clients? Absolutely. Absolutely. We do it all the time. What is the domination area? The domination area is right below your supremacy area inside of Project X. So You go back to the Project X home. You've got your SEO intro and updates. This is new. Then your supremacy main page. Then your domination main page. It's fantastic. Graham, first time on any Project X training. Love it. Need to complete the training to understand it all. Only been in for 3 days from Auckland, New Zealand. Welcome, Graham. Welcome. I'd also be interested in how Jimmy is handling the larger scope of his biz. Mid 5 figures seems to represent a lot of clients. Is he still running with employees, processes? Jimmy, you're a one-man gang.
I am. I have one VA, like when I get too busy, that I've trained on some of my stuff, and he'll help fill in some gaps on more of the busy work that I might not want to do or don't have time to do. So,
but most of the time you're still one-man gang.
Yeah, most of the time you can. I mean, most of the stuff you do to rank a website is literally done in, a half hour during a day for your PBNs, or like in GSA, like it takes me, 20 minutes to set up a campaign and hit go.
Okay, great.
So, I mean, that frees up a lot of your time.
So much,
to do other stuff.
Don't. Again, this is one of the reasons why we want you to get off of everyone else's list. Don't go nuts outsourcing. Really, as much as doing it yourself. I mean, me and Greg and Jimmy, we do all the SEO for OMG. David Mills doesn't do any of it. We do almost all of it ourselves. Greg orders articles. I actually usually write the articles myself. Does OMG have any videos on how to build Socrates from scratch? Find their videos don't match the newer version of Socrates. Okay, I'll have a look at that. I may update that. That's great. It's a great question. Paul, does the money site need to be a site that's ranked / has domain authority, or is it okay to be new but linked to a good PBN? Yeah, Paul, you can rank an EMD, or you can rank a new site for sure. We do it all the time. NashvilleSEO.org was brand new when we started ranking it. You can also rank a PBN. Janet says, so in this Blue Nile versus Amazon example, is this demonstrating how Google favors ranking pages over domain / websites?
Well, it'd just be like the reverse. So because we were talking about domain authority, it's the primary factor that comes in first, but besides that, you're looking at the total pages on a site, where a lower domain authority site can still creep up on there because it has more relevant pages on that site across its domain. Whereas like Amazon only has like a couple of categories, in that example of jewelry.
Right.
So, yeah, hopefully that helps.
All right, Paul, is Bing or other search engine results ever considered important? I don't go nuts with it. I don't worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that you can do, the problem is between Bing and Google, like Bing is a completely different set of things that you optimize for to get those rankings. So I still stay true to Google, but if you want to try and get those rankings in Bing, when your site's ranking, go to Bing Webmaster Tools and submit your sitemap to them. And more times than not, because you're already ranking on the front page, you'll end up on page 1 or 2 just from doing that.
Great, so. Sitemap. All right, Josh Michael Oscar Long, that's my name, don't wear it out. I don't know, it was just a question that we had. Pete, are your anchor texts Franklin SEO? So, some of them, you're not going to rank without that, typically. Okay, I'm just going to go through the questions that came in while we were answering questions, and then we're going to wrap things up today. Remember, get off everyone else's list, embrace confusion and overwhelm, law of implication, and join Facebook and mikelongmagic@gmail.com is what you search for. Where's the local 7 training? I don't know where we have that. I'll try to figure that out.
I'm coming out with something on that soon.
Okay, great.
But, I don't know if you want to put my website up on there to.
Oh, yeah. And
want to follow along with other stuff that I do. Yeah,
by the way, this is a wonderful resource. Jimmy actually does, time right now, he's not taking on new clients, but he does do consulting. It's pricey. It's around $300 an hour, well worth it. But if you have a specific question, especially when it comes to stuff about like recovery or domain authority stacking or this domination stuff, can be a great resource. And you'll also see a number of softwares and courses. I endorse everything that's involved with Jimmy Kelly. I just officially proudly endorse anything involved with Jimmy Kelly. Hopefully we'll be able to lure Jimmy back to Nashville for OMG Live Nashville Part 2. We'll see if that happens.
Oh yeah, I'll be there.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. So you heard it here first. Virtual office. Where does one get this? Search virtual office, your city. Kasim. Okay, I'm just going to pull this up. I'm just trying to answer some questions rapid fire here. Let's do something. Okay. Oops. I'm more into affiliate marketing and want to start in local, but my local SEO search terms are blanketed by one person. Should I try to outrank that person or try other methods for searching to get clients? There's so many ways to approach clients, people that you already know, Chamber of Commerce's. You can use Craigslist. You can put up on Craigslist an advertisement for, this is something that Donna does so brilliant, for web design or for SEO on Craigslist. You can get people that way. That's free. You can go, I just added a bonus on one of the things we covered was cold calling. This bonus with Dave Hood. If you go to the monetization area, this is killer. The field training on Day Job Killer, local client consulting, and so yeah, Day Job Killer right here. And then acquisition, pricing, and follow-up with David Hood. Really, really great module there. We just added that this week. Really killer. So yeah, there's all kinds of techniques. Let's see. How long does it take you to set up a client? We start right away, Monica. Best way to get started with affiliate marketing is launch tracking for Tony. Okay, yeah, access, we've talked about that. Anders is asking a great question here. I'll pull this up. We're going to try to get more and more information out to you. We do have a lot of information on various countries. Anders says, I'm focusing on ranking in my home country in Sweden. Is there a difference in how we use these methods inside of OMG in Sweden, for example, compared to US sites? Also, in general, is there anything specific we need to think of when we rank sites in another country? You have to be sensitive to what's working there. We're going to get more and more into what's ranking in your own home country. Jimmy, are there any, you may not have any for this, anything like maxims when you go to a different country, things that you like to look at right away?
I usually am looking at the SERPs to see like what's going on with that, but one thing that can help is making sure that the domain, it's kind of interesting because even the methods that you use here in the US, like take a Weebly site for instance, like I can actually verify that Weebly site in Google Webmaster Tools, and then within there I can set the country destination for wherever you want it to be. When you do that, then it gets a lot more traction in other countries.
Great.
So,
all right. Man, I just got an expired domain question, which is a good question. I'm not going to answer it right now. I'm just going to stay out of expired domains right now. Tony C, how do we rank your city SEO? We ranked it with PBNs. I'm going to try to do this a little bit rapid fire because we're over the 2-hour mark here. I planned this for about hour and a half. I'm really having fun, but this has been a lot, but it's been great. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave expired domains questions or expired domains and PBN questions altogether right now. Okay, this is a great question on clients. When we start with a client, do we build a new site or we work with the site they already have? They almost always want to keep their old sites, but you still have to look at their site and see if it has a penalty. If it has a penalty, probably either don't work with them or charge them a lot more. Let's see. Yeah, and Paul, I think I answered your question as well when I did that. If we want to do SEO nationwide, should we still pick a city and rank for my city SEO? I think it's a nice idea to rank for your city SEO and your city web design. Okay, if we want to do SEO nationwide, should we still pick a city and rank for my city SEO? I do think it's a good idea, and I would go for also web design. By the way, Jimmy, we're going for web design Nashville as well now.
Oh, okay.
I think we're going to do digital marketing too. Okay, let's see. Do you continue to expand your PBNs to be able to rank these new clients? And is that expense to be priced to a client? Stephen, whatever expenses, you just build that into the cost of things. Let's see. Jeff, Moz and Ahrefs. Let's see. Jeff's question. Trying to fly through these towards the end here. Jimmy, really appreciate you staying on, really going the extra mile here. I know this has gone pretty long, but it's good. Jeff says, SEO, Moz, Ahrefs. What else should we be used for analyzing websites? You can use SEMrush is another one. Jimmy,
SEMrush.
Yeah.
Majestic.
Yeah.
You know, instead of domain authority, you're looking at trust flow. Link research tools is my favorite. There's cognitive SEO, has a great visual link research. I mean, there's tons out there.
Okay, you don't need all these though. Just pick one or two. That'll be plenty. Jen, I think we got that. Okay. All right. I got more of an understanding of what Amir was asking. Again, I'm trying to stay off of PBN questions in this. I meant firing links from the high domain authority PBNs to my money sites would help your money sites rank faster. Of course. Yeah, of course. Okay, this is, of course, a relative question. This is from Stephen. What do you consider high good domain authority? Just higher than your competition. Is that right, Jimmy?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to the GSA, you're shooting for 80 plus. And then it's still decent if it's like between 60. You could really go to like 54 to 80. But anything under that is like, you don't really want to do that spamming methods to it. And of course, hundreds are, fair game.
Yeah, great. All right. Nick says, Greg mentioned he doesn't use GSA or anything with PBNs, anything but PBNs. Yeah, Greg doesn't use GSA or anything but PBNs. That's largely true. More and more on our projects, and this is one of the reasons why you're going to be getting into, and this is actually probably a good segue into. This is probably a good way, a good segue to get into Death Star Reloaded. More and more we're stacking our PBNs. So that's the long story short. Jimmy, what kind of a teaser can we give them into what we're doing with Death Star Reloaded? And I think that's going to be a good way to segue out of this event. I've really tried to answer as many questions as possible. I'm basically I think we got almost everything. Oh, Tom, hush. That's funny. Yeah, thanks, buddy. So is there a way for us to give people? I guess there's not really a good way for us to give them a sneak preview. I mean, basically, we're doing some social stuff, plugging it into your PBNs, and it's going to make your PBNs more powerful. Is that correct?
Yeah, and there's other stuff that you do to it as well, but it's hard to, without like giving away, some tricks.
Yeah,
just wait for us to release it, but it'll be good.
It's coming soon. You're gonna love it. Project Extras is gonna get it. It's gonna be great. Okay, great. Yeah, I think Pete wants to know if you can rank Facebook for multiple cities. It would be the same thing as keywords, like a city is a keyword. Save number of clients to take on until you're good at ranking. I mean, start with one, Malcolm. Start with one or two. Paul wants a glossary for acronyms. I might come up with something like that. I might do that. Okay. Let's see. Gavin wants to know for WordPress for affiliate sites, you can look in the new web design area. That should help. Let's see. Mike wants to know is OMG at omgmachines.com still working? It is. Okay. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're basically good. If you enjoyed yourself, let us know. Really appreciate your time on this event. If I missed it, you can email me. If I missed your question, just email me at omg@omgmachines.com. And we'll, we really did our best here. This is just, but I think that we really did get everything. Did everyone have just a fantastic time? Wonderful, wonderful. So let's keep in mind our big things. Get off everybody else's list. Embrace confusion and overwhelm. Law of implication. michaelyoungmagic@gmail.com to join that group. And this is such a great resource. Jimmy, thank you so much for coming live on this event. I highly recommend everybody visit jimmykelly.org. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to Death Star Reloaded. I think that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, you bet, Mike. Thanks for having me.
All right, and can you see all these thank yous rolling in? Hopefully you can. Lots and lots and lots of thank yous. OMG,
Yeah, thanks for everyone for bearing with my geekiness.
No, it's a wonderful gift to have you on, Jimmy, and thank yous are just rolling in right now. This is wonderful. I also want to thank our impromptu special guests, Glenn Ingram, Dave Keys, Vince Duffy, and Lauren. Really thank you all for coming live on this event. It was incredible, and I just think that this was an amazing event. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Okay, God bless, and thank you very much. I'll see you guys. Jimmy, I'll talk to you next day or so.
All right, sounds good, Mike.
God bless everybody.